Episode 664 of Lucas Tigers and Bronze. Oh my. A full episode. I really hope we get a chance to kind of cover everything. So really quickly, almost 100 cards we got for the SGC sub. So please keep sending those our way. We'll start kind of turning them around and getting them back to you guys. So appreciate the trust. It means the world. I want to talk about the NBA playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of put a little bit of a percentages of kind of who I think will advance for both conferences in percentage form. So I'm excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have Collectible coming on our show at some point in the upcoming week to talk a little bit about the valuation. One question I want you to make sure that you don't let me forget is, did the person who bought the card, the Mahomes Shield Flawless, for $312, is it the same person that's selling it on Collectible? Because I heard conflicting information.
Okay.
I heard that card was sold privately a few months after the Golden Auction.
Which would be another sale, higher price. Okay, well, make sure we ask. I mean, when you say you got one question to ask, I always assume it's how much wood could a woodchuck chuck? If a woodchuck could chuck wood, but this is a good question too. Let's rock.
We have the PWCC weekly auction that we're going to cover. And something, maybe I'll start here is, are you seeing a flight to quality? Because that's what I'm seeing right now. The things people are talking about, the things people are buying, the cards that are appreciating in value versus depreciating. We talked about a flight to quality in August or October 2020 to be exact.
Yep.
But I think it takes time to play out. And I think with uncertainty in the world, kind of politically, war, all that stuff, with uncertainty economically, inflation, housing prices just going through the roof, with uncertainty, like politically, we don't really even know who the president's going to be or if Biden will make it through to 2024. People want to buy really safe, prized assets.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's more than just quality. I think it's people are looking for rarity. People are looking for scarcity. People are looking for those things. And whether it's numbered gold or, the Moses Malone that I talked about last week, that the REA auction got extended and I didn't win it for, $25,000 because it ultimately sold for like 80 with an extra day of bidding after it sold for 192 and the whole deal. That's a card that there's only, a couple dozen of in PSA 10. I think people are looking for those type of high-end things. There's quite a few of them that we can talk about in the weekly auction ending Sunday night here for PWCC. The same kind of genre, even one card from the same set, actually, from the
2017 Flawless?
No, from the top set. There's I think it's 1975 tops, I'm pretty sure. It's a Pete Maravich PSA 10. Really nice card. There's not a lot of those at all. I think there might be a half dozen of them or something like that total in PSA 10. It's just a gorgeous card, very difficult to find, centered and pristine. Everybody loves Maravich. And it's just a real nice card.
Really love Maravich?
Yeah, man. He's like a folk hero, and he passed away early. And, he was...
I heard his dad made him train in the garage with under 30-degree weather every single day.
It's a cool movie, The Pistol, they call him, which is a cool nickname also. But there's a lot of movies about him, The Pistol, played by a bunch of different people. But watch his you just type into YouTube Maravich dribbling. He was one of the guys who was all about handling. It was all about he had the handles. He was doing dribbling drills and dribbling the ball with two hands and stuff. Had great handles when that wasn't something that was. Really paid too much attention.
An incredible shooter, right?
Oh, yeah.
Shooter?
Oh, yeah. 100%. I mean, just a real great player and people collect him. He's got a tall boy, rookie, but this is a later card of his. If you look at the back of it, it's not perfectly centered. I mean, it's well within the PSA.
This is on the PWCC weekly auction?
Yep. Yeah, take a look. Just type in Maravich and share your screen with me. I'll navigate you through it. And guys, again, just like you did.
I wanted to say was I think the audience is getting smarter. I think what we saw with not the outrage, but the attention to the Mahomes 1-of-1 is people know that he has 20 1-of-1s.
Yes.
They're not fooled anymore. So it's not just a flight to quality of I'm going to buy rare. People aren't going to buy your blue circles, PSA 9. People aren't going to fall for the. No, but it's interesting when you first get into the hobby. You're like, oh, this is out of 75. This is probably safe. This is pretty rare. But the market.
I just love blue circles because I'm pretty sure that's just digital.
Yeah, I really didn't love it.
I'm pretty sure it's just Panini Digital out of 99 blue circles. I got more of those than I know what to do with. 100%.
How do you spell Maravich?
Maravich. Maravich. And it should come up. I think there's only a couple of his cards in there. Believe it or not, he has a Kaboom. That's also in the weekly auctions.
Does he? He does have a Kaboom.
It's in next week's auction.
Craziest thing.
So look at the middle card, right? So there's a bunch of Maravich. You take a look at him. He's got, so the goatee one, the 1975. Take a look at this. So PSA Pop is 5. There's only 5 10s. If you look at the back, even this as a 10, it doesn't have like the greatest see the right to left. It's well within the PSA range. But even a 10 is not completely, pristine. But this is the kind of card that people are now looking at. Same 75 set, visually appealing that the Moses Malone was in. There's it's a nice card. There's another PSA 9 of Maravich, also the 71 tops. But this one here in 10, I don't know when the last time this card came up for sale was, and I definitely don't know when it's going to come up for sale again. That's the kind of flight to quality type of stuff that I'm seeing that people are looking for. So, and eye appeal also. Everybody likes the ones that really look nice. So,
Why would you buy this one over the 71 rookie?
That's not a rookie.
This isn't his rookie?
That's not
why would you
the
go
rookie is green. It's a tall boy. Why would I go that? Because it's a 10. It's unimprovable. So I would imagine that I didn't research this particular 71, but I would imagine there are 10s of that and more 9s. There are 5 10s in the world. Likely to not increase from that unless somebody goes and starts trimming again. But it's not a 2021 Contenders card. It is a 1975 Topps basketball card. If it was a 21 Contenders card, there'd probably be plenty of 10s. There's probably some 6s now that are going to become 10s.
This is him on the Jazz.
Yes. He was all over. He moved around. He was on a bunch of different teams. So was Moses Malone.
Collectors? Are there Maravich collectors?
100%. 100%. 100%.
Like who? 100%. Like a 56-year-old guy? Like who's collecting Maravich?
No, I mean, if you remember Gary V, when he was looking at the stuff, Oscar Robertson, Maravich was one of the ones he was looking for. Maravich rookie in PSA 9, 100% was one of the names that he threw out there with Moses Malone. It's just, as people look at that genre, these are the guys, right? He's like Kareem genre. He's, these are the stars of that generation. But it's more than that, right? There probably aren't many. Johnny Moore fans either. There probably that many, who else is in that set that we talked about, right? The Johnny Moore, and there's another one, but they sell for $100,000 now because it's just none of them. People are building sets, right? And there's always that competition. But I don't want to spend too much time on this because I want to do a full episode with you. It's just one that I looked at when you started talking about like the flight to quality. The layer on top of that is that quality should also be something scarce, right? If you want to see the appreciation, you could also have a flight to quality. Like I own a 1989 Upper Deck SP rookie, star rookie of Ken Griffey Jr. Right? I love that card. Right? It's
that's
a quality
scarce because
card.
of the grade.
But it's not scarce, even with the grade. You know what I mean? Like that's not one that has any of the bells and whistles. I love it because that is the card, but it takes, it's like moving a mountain to move that card. Like I don't see it going down from where it is, right? But that's one where it's quality, but it's not quality with like scarcity, right?
The more I hear about Ken Griffey Jr., his market, how people feel, I have a comp for him. I think Luka in 20 years is going to have similar emotions.
Maybe if Luka doesn't win, but he keeps putting up a bunch of numbers. Yeah.
He comes in, he's the kid.
Could be a very, very good comp. Could be a very good comp.
He comes in and he literally is the junk.
And you know why the comp works?
Everyone has that card.
You know why the comp works even better? Because I don't hear anybody say anything bad about Luka, and I never really heard anybody say anything bad about Griffey either. You either love him or you just don't say anything about him. Like Trey, people hate Trey. People love Trey, but people hate Trey, right? Griffey did not have that, right? The other guys of the time, the 80s and 90s, there were people who were fans, and there were people who hated Barry Bonds. People loved and hated. Jose Canseco, people loved and people hated. So yeah, I think it's a great comp.
That phenomenon is fascinating because like Trey has terrible hair and people kind of rag on him. Luka gets the worst haircuts ever, and people think it's hilarious, right? And I always think about that. So here's one that I think is a flight to quality from the PWCC weekly auctions.
Let's hear it.
The Hank Aaron.
Oh, so on this card is nicer looking than the 8 that I owned. This is a nicer looking 6 than the 8 that I owned. 100%. Shoot.
This is an interesting card. So one, this is an old PSA label, very old. But then you have this gold, the Mike Baker kind of like stamp of approval.
Yep.
Perfectly centered. But then you have one thing against it. The right edge is destroyed. Right? That's basically the only thing wrong with this card. Obviously, when you see it in person, completely different. But the right edge and a little bit around the top is.
So I wouldn't use the word destroyed, right? Because then it wouldn't have got a 6. But yeah, it is just that edge. That's the only thing, hold this back from a significantly higher grade. I know what you mean though, because these cards, there's a rough edge. You know what I mean? And we've seen that, especially on cards like this. So the edge that Andrew's talking about on this card, if you're familiar with the 54 tops, this card has a green edge to it. Half the card is green. So when you get that card wear on it, it's almost like the 79 O-Pee-Chee Gretzky that has that blue edge. And when you have card wear on the side, it's very white. There's a contrast between the white and the blue, and it looks significantly worse than it is. Same here. If you show the back of that card, it is green. And so any kind of damage to that side of the card, it shows because it's a green against a white or a gray. So it's a contrasting color. So that's why, they really stand out. But it's also why that Mike Baker is on there and why, we have the PWCC on top of it. So you got 2 IPL designations on this card, right? Because from a centering standpoint, from a registration standpoint, from a color standpoint, this card looks significantly better than a 6. It just does. It's a gorgeous card. And that has come to matter a lot more. People will buy a Mickey Mantle that has corners of a 4, and it's keeping it in a 4, but it has the centering of a 6 and the coloring and registration of a 6, and they'll pay 5 prices for it. You know what I mean? So that's
where back to this market is now smarter, in my opinion. This kind of stuff is like, if I were to rate like how important centering is, how important the actual coloring, like that's not a faded orange, that's a vivid orange. How important that is, I think the edge wear is like towards the bottom of the list of what people care about in terms of eye appeal. Obviously, everyone cares about everything in the eye appeal. It's all about the eye appeal. But I would say the edges are near the bottom.
Yep. How about I pull up a card now that if I were bidding, I may bid on. And I want to get your take on it. Pull up just write this, Dynasty Pele. Just a gorgeous card. A gorgeous card.
Dynasty Pele. Pele's in fashion. He's the Mickey Mantle of soccer.
Yeah. Some may say he's the Babe Ruth of soccer. Right? He is the name. Right? Anybody says baseball, they say, okay, Babe Ruth. Pele.
So
Dynasty.
sick, man.
You didn't type Dynasty. There's a lot of Pele in this week's auction. There's some cool stuff. So you can go through them. I mean, that's a cool card, right? That's 58.
This is 58. This is Brazil plays the Soviet Union. This wasn't even Russia, Ukraine, all this.
Edgar?
It was the Soviet Union. Hey, Ian.
You're holding a microphone? He's got a microphone. He's holding an imaginary microphone as I speak. Thank you.
And the goalie is Lew Alcindor. Like maybe the greatest goalie of all time.
A cool card, right? And it's a 4, nicely centered. I've seen this card sell, right? Because there's a couple of these 58. Don't ask me to say that word. It's like Whittleschaft. And you got a couple of them where like he's kind of jumping in the air and heading the ball. But the Dynasty one was the one that I wanted to look at specifically on this one. Take your time. These are cool. By the way, this is one of those fun things about this weekly auction. You type Pele, look what we have. You know what I mean? Like there's some pretty nice cards. But you just stumbled on something. Can you go back?
There's 2 Topps Dynasty Peles.
Well, I think one might be next week.
Yep.
So there's one of these next week. The one that's this week what's the numbering on this one?
The one that ends tomorrow night is at 2,500 right now, and it's out of 10.
Out of 10. And next week is out of 5.
Correct. What are you doing right now?
I'm pulling up my computer also so that I have it. I love this card. I mean, this is a gorgeous card. 9 with a 10 auto. It's Pele. It's Topps Dynasty. Let me do a little sneaky thing about Dynasty. Right, the fringe collectors, I think Dynasty might be one of those hidden gems. It might be one of those, like, you're going to compare it to, like, Exquisite or National Treasure RPAs, right? Topps doesn't have that specific one. And why I think Dynasty might become it is because of, when I say fringe, F1. 2020 F1, which people are spending a lot of money on, the RPA, right? The patch autos, the only one they had was Dynasty, right? And here you have soccer, has Topps Dynasty, right? Which has basically a patch auto of these guys. And I think, in addition to this being Pele, in addition to it being an awesome autograph with a really cool, multicolor swatch, nice card, limited to 10, right? And, I think it's number 1 of 10 too, which carries a little bit of premium. I think the card, itself, the Topps Dynasty of it, like this has a shot of being one of those cards that people are like, oh wow, what's the RPA or what's the patch or what's the Exquisite? What's the one we look at? Oh yeah, of course, for Topps, it's Topps Dynasty for Lewis Hamilton, for Pele, for whoever it might be. So I just think this is a cool card. Thoughts? You're the soccer guy.
I love it. I mean, it's impossible to get game-worn jerseys of Pele. That would be in the millions of dollars. No one's going to cut up a Pele and make a 2016 Topps card. So, understandably, this is not game-worn. This is on-card auto.
Correct.
This is a gorgeous auto. My question, I mean, I don't know how you could go wrong buying Pele. I don't think it's a market that actually has had some of the, explosive growth. It feels a little more organic. It feels a little bit more Mickey Mantle-ish.
Yep.
I mean, it's hard to know, but that's the vibe I get.
Yep.
I'm dumbfounded by something else. When does BGS decide to put autos on the front of a card versus the back? Because you have two of the exact same cards, and I don't understand why they don't.
It's just when they were grading. It's just, it's just the different label. They put it on the back, they put it on the front. Yeah. I don't get it. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm with you. Look at that. I mean, it's an interesting thing. Where do you want to go next? Do you want to stay? You want to stay in you want to do some basketball? You want to stay in soccer for a minute? Tell me why this guy is awesome. Type in for me Jude Bellingham. All right.
I don't think he's awesome.
It's not Haaland, who just had a hat trick. Welcome back, Mr. Erling Haaland. But you have what would be, I think, Jude Bellingham's best card. It's his UEFA. I'm going to say it wrong, because he doesn't play for Barca. That's the only team I know. You have his Superfractor from 2020 Topps Chrome. It's his SP rookie, 1 of 1. Pull it up. There it is.
So when companies partner with us on any type of content we create, they know that we're going to talk about it in both ways. If we think it's a good buy, if we think it's not a good buy. And I understand, like the Superfractors, they look beautiful. And you have the rookie stamp, which is kind of new in soccer. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big fan of, in general, buying a second or third best player on a team, especially if it's a lower level team. But here's really the kicker, Cage.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time a British player has been investable?
I have no idea because I am not a soccer guy. But I would imagine, Wayne Rooney's going to come over here and kick your ass if you say they're not investable.
But he isn't. Beckham isn't. And Gary Lineker isn't. I mean, George Best, by the way, that's if you guys ever want to take some time, George Best was like considered the fourth Beatle. But my point with this is, if you guys know soccer and you know the British kind of culture, they overhype their players. They overhype their teams. And we always say this to our business partners, and we really mean it. It's like we try to, under promise and over deliver. You know what the British soccer team notoriously does?
What?
They over promise and under deliver.
Okay.
Every player is the next great. We have the best league. Our team's going to win the World Cup. And I think as a result of that is why their players become.
Okay. So, Jude Bellingham. Tell me what he has done in the last 3 months, 4 months. I mean, what has he done? Is he playing well? Is he playing fine? Has he been healthy? Has he been hurt?
I don't watch the German league.
But what's happened since November to now? But has he been involved in some sort of drama? Is he somebody? I mean, Mason Greenwood, obviously, we would know if it was that.
It's not that type of situation. He's still, thought of as one of the top guys coming, right? So here's why I bring this card up, right?
One day ago, there's one announcement, and this is the extent of what I know from Express is the news article. Nice. Liverpool is expected to sign Jude Bellingham.
Oh, that would be nice. Liverpool's my team now. Thank you.
Never believe these. Never believe.
I know it's baloney. It's all baloney. But here's what I do believe: numbers. So this card is currently sitting with a day left in the PWCC weekly auction at $16,000. There'll be a 20% buyer's premium added on that. Do you know what that comes out to?
22.
No. 20% of 16,000. You could do this.
20,000.
It's like 3,200. So it's like 19, right? So basically 19. This exact card sold in November of 2021, Golden Auctions, for $29,520.
Say that number again?
$29,520. So this exact card, which is currently sitting at $16,000 plus buyer's premium, sold in the November 2021 auction at Golden for $29,520.
Yeah, but the soccer market was so pumped for a while, man.
You can read however you like. If you are a Bellingham guy and you missed out on that one, if you're a Bellingham guy, fan, and you want to get what I consider his best card, you already have a comp on the exact card, which is weird. You don't get that on one of ones, right? And now it's not Golden selling it again. It's someone bought it in Golden and is selling it in PWCC in the weekly auction. Maybe they need some cash. Maybe they need some liquidity. But you have a comp from 4 months ago, 5 months ago, of $29,520. It is nowhere near that presently. So, do with that information what you will, but it's obviously relevant.
I really love our show, and I think our listeners who've been with us for a long time, they pick up like where we see eye to eye and where we have different approaches. Everything I did was an X's and O's on the player. You look at the numbers,
Mm-hmm.
and I think both are relevant. Depends when you use them. So
I don't know. I would be out of depth if you asked me to tell you what Jude Bellingham does or even what team he plays for.
Can I talk about my
Dortmund?
favorite?
I don't know anything about those guys.
So I've been thinking a little bit more about this, Cage.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime people ask me about like what team do you support? Are you an Eagles fan, Philly fan? I always say I'm a player guy, right? Like I always just like this is my I like this player. I like what he's about. I like his mindset. And I'm like, dude, why don't you just start PCing? Like, why don't you just start having more fun and being like going all in on one guy, right? And I was like, okay, Maxey's probably that guy. Bane would be that guy. Clay, Cove. But in football, Joey Burrow. And I got to tell you, man, I actually think Joey Burrow lucked out by not winning the Super Bowl, Cage. And here's why. When you win the Super Bowl, you get a target on your back. You kind of go into the hated territory. Like, even look at what happened with Mahomes. I'll stop sharing screen for a second. Look at what happened to Mahomes. He went from the hobby darling to Jackson is on TikTok. His girlfriend, now wife, is so annoying. He's making so many dumb plays. You instantly have this huge target on your back when you're a young guy.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how your face, even your reaction. I know it's kind of counterintuitive. Well, how do you luck out by not winning the Super Bowl? But I think in terms of marketability, it's definitely when you win the Super Bowl, you make more money. But from a card standpoint, I think it benefits him. And the card I want to draw your guys' attention to is this.
While you're pulling up the card, I think it makes sense what you're saying, right? Because people love to have that whole improve year over year. And the card prices will follow, right? The card prices will so improve year to year. And once you reach that pinnacle, how do you improve? You have to repeat and do it better. That's difficult. That's real tough. So if what you're saying is the card's where they are right now, he didn't win, but he can come into the season now with hype, and maybe he'll win it this year. And if he wins it this year, he's improved. The difficult part is if he doesn't and he takes a step back, who knows what happens with him. This is a gorgeous card. Look at that card.
This is an insane card. So first off, this is a BGS 10, only a 9.5 on centering. But if you guys look at this card, I mean, this is as close to a perfect card as you get.
It's pristine.
You have it's colored gold. It's a parallel gold, but I don't know if you know this, Cage. I'm colorblind.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I pull this up, this looks like a color match to me.
I mean, I could see that. I mean, it's Bengals, it's a tiger, it's kind of gold, it's kind of like, it's got the same like striping that has the Bengals jersey. I can see that.
Out of 10.
A little red on it.
So here's the card. It's a 2020 Donruss Optic Preview Gold Joe Burrow rookie out of 10. BGS 10 pristine.
The color matches the gold label.
It color matches the gold label. 4,900 is the current bid. And what's interesting, Cage, about Burrow's market, it's actually back down to where it was. I'll pull up a card ladder chart. But it's back down to where it was in the beginning of the season. So his market hasn't done the Mahomes thing. It hasn't done the Brady thing. So entering into this upcoming year, I mean, the dude is a winner. I got to give Burrow a lot of credit. Like, the dude is a winner. He's got the mindset. He's got the it factor. I think he's going to have a really, really good career.
I mean, very difficult to say he's not. I mean, real nice stuff. Real nice stuff.
Huh. Are you waiting for me to pull this up?
Yep. You said you were going to show it, which is cool. A little bit of quiet. Andrew's pulling up the card ladder data, which we're looking at. It's basically a little flat there. And, it makes sense. Joe Burrow took a pullback, after he didn't win the Super Bowl. I mean, you saw Mahomes' cards pull back when he did win the Super Bowl. It's the offseason. You'd expect some hype coming in now and, folks talking about, these quarterbacks, you name it, as the season gets closer. We just had the draft, so we'll go
what's interesting? And this is where you guys, this is where I'm digging into the index a little bit. Mm-hmm. If you look at, his basic cards, and I say basic, the silver, the field level silver, those are near where they were. I mean, basically where a year ago. They're flat. What's driving the index, and you guys saw the index was up a little bit, is the higher end stuff, the national treasure stuff. The people who bought into that are holding. So
I'd be curious, what the orange color match, Prizm Orange, which I think was out of 249, something like that. Because remember, I had that, and I sold it maybe too early. I sold it as they were going into the playoffs, thought my Raiders had a chance, and they did. They played them pretty well. But, the way it worked out, Burrow's cards went up after I sold it, but I'd be curious to see if they're back down. You know what I mean? If that card is in the $3,000 to $4,000 range, it'll be back down. That's the orange PSA 10 Prizm. Yeah, take a look if you can. And guys, while Andrew's looking at that, just a reminder, 2 cool features on the PWCC weekly auction. Take a look when you hit the sort and filter button. They have a power buyers sort function, and it tells you, again, cards that they are looking at, the current bid on is significantly lower than what the card is appraised at. It's a way to just basically sort and find bargains. They make it easy. They make it there for you. We can go through, before we finish up the segment here, a couple of cards that are on there. And then a second one, if you want to click on right up on the top where they have, all items, you name it, you can click flash. It looks like there's 961 items that were flashed into this weekly auction. That means that those cards were listed as late as Wednesday night at midnight. So you're talking about Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, today is Saturday. You're talking about 3 days ago. So, it's some cards that might be in here that don't have the eyeballs on them that would have, if they were there for the whole week. So you're able to click and just sort those 961 out and see if there's any bargains on there. If you weren't able to find it, it's not a big deal.
There's a lot of orange disco, not a lot of...
Not disco, yeah, just the regular orange. I think it's out of 249, I think. 249, maybe search 249.
But, I mean, if I pulled up the silver and field level PSA 10... And
I'm sure it's about the same.
That's back down to where it was pre-playoff run.
All right. I mean, it's easy enough. Guys, just a quick one before Andrew pulls up another one, and we can lead into our basketball playoffs. You know what? I'll save this. I'll lead it in. It'll be the last one we talk about. I'll let you lead into the basketball playoffs with it. Let's talk a couple of other cards and go from there. There is an amazing Metal Universe Precious Metal Gem Peyton Manning rookie this year of PMGs. There's only 50 of them. So it's a Manning rookie in PMG that is out of 50. Jersey match with the college uniform he's wearing. So he's wearing in college number 16. This is card number 16 out of 50. So it matches college. Really? Yeah, it matches his college uniform. It matches the jersey he's wearing in the card itself. Obviously, Manning's known for 18 in in the pros, but this is a card where it matches his Tennessee Volunteers jersey number, and I mean
it's a rookie, it's a PMG, there's only 50. It's selling. I mean, it's a PSA 6, but on these PMGs, because they are easily damaged, the grade is not that much. You have more than 50 Manning fans out there that you're competing with for this card. This is one that, any, Manning collector would want in their collection. It's one you got to pay attention to.
I love it. The only thing that comes to mind is how many of the 50 are actually in circulation. Like I always think behind that like total supply is what's like the real active supply.
Yep. Yeah, no, I think you're 100% correct, and a lot of them are probably locked up. Couple more fun cards. Let's do a little couple in the basketball world. We'll go a little, we'll go generations, right? We can go some 70s, we can go some, some 80s, 90s guys, and we'll go to something a little more modern. Let's start with the older one. If you type in Alcindor, there's a 1971 Topps basketball Lew Alcindor. I love the 71 Topps set. It's one of the better done sets, not as blurry. It's a well done set. It's Alcindor's third year. I'm pretty sure 69 is his rookie, but also a lot of those you have, those cards are very difficult, right? Condition wise. So we talked about the 69. Yeah, well, that's the deal, right? It looks like Game of Death. Actually, it looks like he's in a Bruce Lee movie there. He's still on the Bucks, and what's cool about this card is there are in the 9. We talk about it's the same kind of pop as his rookie. In the 9, there are 29 9s and only 5 higher. Right, so you're talking about less than 3 dozen this or better. And we know people are collecting the hell out of Lew Alcindor. We know people are buying his cards. We know people are buying these sets. So it's just one to bring to folks' attention. Just a real nice card and fits in that category we talked about before with the Maravich of, people chasing quality, people chasing the guys, people chasing the names, but also, low pop, high end, great condition cards. Next one is, and this is just a cool one that
real quick. Do you
sure.
know what's interesting? Hey, I found this stat out. So do you know his career high? Sure. In points?
I think he was more of a longevity guy. He had the most, but I think he definitely scored over 50, right?
55, but he never hit 60. Never hit 60.
Which is not a lot of players hit 60.
I mean, yeah, but this is the most points in NBA history.
Yeah. But
longevity, I hear what you're saying.
But I mean, like before Barry Bonds did what he did, if you look at Hank Aaron's home run numbers, I don't know that he never hit 60 home runs in a season. I know like McGuire and those guys did, and he had 750 home runs in his career. I think he was mostly in the 40s. He just did it for a long time.
So what you're saying, and I'm just inferring here from what your words are, LeBron is doing steroids.
Why? How many times has LeBron scored 60?
Well, that's not where I went with it.
I know, but how many times has LeBron scored 60? Seriously, 60 was the number, right? 60 is difficult.
One
60,
time.
60 is a tough one, right? There's not a lot of people. Our pal Pete Maravich did it. Jordan did it a bunch of times. Wilt did it almost every game, right? Kobe obviously did it a few times. Your favorite.
Who leads the NBA in 50-point games?
50-point games?
Yeah.
LeBron? James Harden. Oh, listen, that makes sense.
James Harden has 23 50-point games. LeBron has 14.
Well, how many does Wilt Chamberlain have, dude? That can't be the right stat.
Active players.
Oh, okay. That can't be the right. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, 60. There's not a ton of people who did it. Bird did it. Clay did it. Harden did it. But I don't think has LeBron ever done it? Did LeBron do it like once, maybe?
So Wilt Chamberlain has almost
LeBron 61
60-point games with 32. James Harden and Dame Lillard are the only active players with more than one.
Yeah. Lillard, Simpsons did it. Bernard King. So let's go with. I mean, Shaq had 61. Lillard had a couple of games of 61. I think he had a 60
Wilt had 32. Also. Kobe had 6. Harden has 4. Jordan has 4.
We talked about Maravich. Wow. Another guy who did it was Larry Bird. Larry Bird had at least one. I remember watching him score 60 once. So I know he did it at least once. And there is a really cool Larry Bird card that I want you to pull up for folks. Just to, we're talking about the Topps Dynasty. We're comparing it to cards. If you're a Bird guy, this is a card that doesn't come up. There you go. The limited logos, the exquisite. It's just one of these cards that doesn't come up that often. It matches a player from a different era with a card from a different era. It's one of those cool throwbacks. Obviously, he wasn't playing in 2003 because he started playing in the 70s. That would be a long time to play, and he's not Vince Carter. So it's just a cool card. It meshes kind of like if there's a modern collector who knows this card from LeBron and Kobe and those guys, but also has like the bird, on a bird collection. This card is sitting at $3,000, and I don't know how many of them there are, but I mean, what are the 75 the limited logos? I think this is a real nice card if you're a bird collector. And then now jumping forward a couple of years,
real quick, I have another hot take, Cage.
Yeah, let's take it. Take the hot takes. I love these PWC episodes, but we could go. These PWCC episodes could be 2 hours long.
They could be
because I get talking about the cards. I get excited.
So, guys that are watching and listening, let us know in the comments. Here's the question. Okay, would you rather a BGS 8 or a PSA 6? Why am I asking that? I have a pet peeve when I look at these cards, and if it's a graded 9.5 or 9, I'm okay with it because it's a nice like label. But these bland white labels with these weird subgrades, I think it takes away from the card. I'm curious to hear what our audience thinks, right? Because, Cage, with the PSA label, every single label is the same. You have a 10 or a 6, it's the same, right? Those labels, when they're in low grades and BGS, I think they take away so much from the eye appeal. And I'm curious.
It's the white label. Yeah, I'm with you. I understand exactly what you're saying. I really do. The only other basketball card I want to bring a little bit of attention to is the Steph Curry. That's a really nice auto out of $499, BGS 9.5. It's a numbered rookie auto from Panini Classics. If you want to, you could take a look at that one, Panini Classics. Take a look, and yeah, there you go. I mean, just a real nice card.
Little San Francisco jersey action.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, just a real nice card. And if you're, if you think the Warriors win another title and you think Steph's cards all go on a little bit of a run, this is one to definitely take a look at.
Freakishly rare. There's not a lot of Curry on-card autos. There's not a lot of Curry on-card autos with him in a Golden State jersey. And from his rookie season, this is a really tough find. And it's in a high grade too. So this is not an easy card to find in a high grade on-card auto. Beautiful card.
Only 2 more cards that I pulled out that I want to talk about, and then I have 2 more things, and I'll let you go. Right? So you can do it. You want to talk about baseball? You want to talk about hockey? Because the last 2 cards we talked about.
Both sports are yucky to me.
So I mean, you got the 2018 Bowman Chrome Gold Refractor Lubob, the Lewis Robert card. Rookie auto out of 50, BGS 9. Basically, what you got there is a gold Lubob first auto. So real nice, real pretty card. Bowman Chrome Gold.
Is this it?
I mean, that's it. Bowman Chrome.
BGS 9.5.
Yep, BGS 9.5. BGS 9.5 with a 10 auto.
Little Dasani plug. Nice. By the way, if you guys are wondering, Dasani is the worst water. It's by Coca-Cola. First off, they make it, so it's not even real water. Anyway.
Wow, man! You really? I mean, what do they make their own water, or do they?
So
how is it not real water? You just made a very scientific statement that it's not real water. So let me. Is there only?
Here's how you.
Is there only one? Is there only one hydrogen in it? Is the molecule only one hydrogen? Is it H1O? Is it weird?
Is pretty convenient. So pH is the measure of acidity and alkalinity. The higher the pH, the greater the alkalinity.
Yeah.
So this is alkaline water with electrolytes.
But that's not real water. That's enhanced water. That's water that has had its alkalinity adjusted and its pH adjusted, and it's no.
All true. And I'm not. No. You're right. I'm not a scientist, but here's how I know. It's how. Like, you ever wake up in the middle of the night and you just have like dry mouth? You're like, I feel so dehydrated.
Yes, I get a Diet Coke.
Do you really?
Of course. So
in the middle of the night?
Of course. I walk over, I take a piss, I get a Diet Coke.
But why do you want caffeine when you're trying to go back to sleep?
Because Diet Coke cures everything for me. It's like Robitussin. Rub some tussin on it.
Well, if you want to be hydrated,
Diet Coke, I'm healthy.
Actually hydrated,
powers the engine.
This stuff is way better than Dasani and Aquafina.
All right. Well, listen, I can't wait for the end of the month when whatever water company that is sends me my half of the sponsorship that we just did for them. Moving on, we have a 1971 OPC. I wanted you to say this guy. I wanted you to say this guy's
Oh,
name.
I'll say it. I'll say it.
1971 OPC.
Guy Lafleur.
Guy.
Guy Lafleur.
No, Guy. It's Guy Lafleur. Guy.
No, it's Guy Lafleur from
No.
the Purple Cobras.
It's
The Globo
exactly.
Purple Cobras.
Peter Lafleur. Exactly. Peter. Cram it down your cram hole, Lafleur. So this is just a really cool card of one of the Canadians' all-time great players. Just passed away.
Hobby dodgeball tournament would go crazy.
That'd be amazing. I would get hit. I'm a large target. So only 52 of these in PSA 9. This has got the PWCC I appeal to it. Only 6 higher, only 6 10s. This one could have been a 10. I'm just saying. It's one of the nicer ones that are out there. If you're a hockey guy, 71 OPG, Guy Lafleur. Real nice card. It's okay. I have something for you. If you're going to pull up the stuff, I want you to do something. And we can go through them all because this is an auction for you. Right, so what I want you to do is pull up the page for me, and guys, you can do this also. While you're at home looking for the bargains, I'm gonna show Andrew how to do this. Kind of like as we go on the fly. Right, so just pull up the weekly auction head page and go to the sort and filters.
You guys out there want a quick business idea? Go to PWCC weekly auctions, find just one of these cards, and do like a history write up every single day. Like, who the hell is G.E. Waddle?
It's Jalen Waddle's uncle. Okay, come on. I got this great
Bill Abstein. All right, anyway.
Why are you doing this? So I want you to go to the main page, share the screen. I want you to go to the main weekly, go to weekly auction. Exactly. You're not sharing the screen. It's okay. And then go to the sort and filters. Sort by highest bid and click power buyer. Okay, so sort by highest bid, click power buyer. Power buyer, go up to the top, see sort by.
Yeah, I'm already sorted. I have to do it twice. I don't follow directions well.
The top, sort by, highest price. Okay, apply. Now in the search, I want you to type something I think even you will spell correctly. Right. Kobe. Kobe. Okay, and this will pull up the Kobe cards that are selling for below the appraisals. Right? Now, I want you to look at some of these. Right? Look at that second one. Little noisy boys. You got an Ultimate Collection auto. I mean, just a real nice card. But if you scroll down to the next one, two of my favorite cards. Right? Stop. So yes, so those are that's the one. The Intimidation Nation in PSA 10. Only 9 of these in PSA 10. It's at $1,650. You don't see these cards come up for auction. Kobe people hang on to these, right? This is like one of those, Jordan collectors, Kobe. That is a sick card in PSA 10 that you literally do not see. Intimidation Nation. Nice card. Back it out, and you'll see I like the Press Pass auto that's next to this, where he has his Lower Merion auto. Just hit the back button. Look right next to it. Look at that card. Only 9 BGS 9.5s. None higher.
Golden was scoreboard, right, Cage?
Yeah, you can look at this Press Pass. Nice.
This is nice. Company.
Yep, just a cool card. This is a different company than scoreboard. And if you go down, I got 2 more for you. Just the next row. So that's a cool card also, but I'd rather have a 10-10. Scroll down. Scroll down to the next row. Boom, that orange one. Look at that card. Go up. The orange Prizm. That's a PSA 10 Kobe 2013 orange Prizm. Now, some would say color match, but I mean, the Lakers uniform is kind of like an orangey gold, whatever it is. But it's orange. There are only 7 PSA 10s. This card's sitting at $1,150 right now. Look at that card. Prizm, PSA 10. Real nice card. The one next to it's really cool. I mean, it's a Kobe, Garnett, SP Authentic dual signatures. I mean, you got these Kobe cards sitting at $1,000. Some of these are real nice. And if you scroll down a couple of them, more to the right there, you got a PMG Kobe Authentic for $750. I mean, look at what you have there. I mean, it's not the PMG everybody goes for, but it is a real nice card for.
You know how this stuff changes.
I know. They're not going for it yet. Now, one more thing, and this is Andrew Bargain Plays, guys. Andrew, if you scroll back up, you can spend your own time looking at the Kobe's. Go back into the Kobe, and next to Kobe, I want you to type, so next to Kobe, space, next to Kobe, space, coding.
Coating. Now, this is an Andrew play from you guys who listened to our episode about the finest cards that have the coating on it. And what you'll notice here is that there are 3 bargain Kobe's, all sitting at 8 or 8.5, including his finest rookie. Look at that 96 finest refractor at PSA 8.5. It's currently the bid on it. Now, this is for next week, right? The bid's $31. The other 2 are $12 and $12. Andrew, you want to tell people what your thoughts are about this coating and a coating one sitting at an 8?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what I think. First off, peeling the coating is not as easy as you think. So I actually have a Kobe coating one that I don't necessarily know how to peel the coating.
Just
so that's
peel it. You peel it off from the corner. It's like a Band-Aid.
But it's you guys out there that have peeled coating.
I peeled
the first
coating.
time you do it, it's scary. After that, yeah, you just slide it right in. It's not a big deal. But the first time is scary. Second, this is not a card that I would send to PSA because you know exactly what's wrong with this card. It's off center. You know who grades off center cards the best and gets your best bag for the buck? 2 companies, but really 1 company who's actually turns them around. It's SGC and BGS. So what I would do is, yes, you're absolutely right. Inspect the card. It might be a coating thing, but I think it's also a centering thing.
That one. How about the ones that are $12? 99 finest with coating. Both.
You know these are bids, Cage. The bids are going to go up.
I know, but look, we can only tell what it's bid at now. This way people can find these $12 bargains and bid on them when they're there.
Yeah.
These are Kobe PSA. I mean, they're 99 finest basketball ones, right? So, they both have the coating on it. Andrew's thought is, maybe you peel the coating off and maybe it gets a PSA 9 without coating.
For sure, because if you guys – so what happened to mine, Cage, if you're curious, is it just – over time, they form these little bubbles underneath. They're very small, and sometimes dust gets underneath. And that's why they get an 8.
I love it. It's just one of those fun things, guys. It is so easy to negotiate and navigate the PWCC site. Look at the fun we just had. If you're a Kobe guy, power buyer, Kobe, coating, you can look for your different bargains. You can have these, these search terms. However you want to go. I mean, I just think it's pretty awesome. And we're going to roll into basketball playoffs with one more thing. So, guys, Power Buyer feature, the Flash feature, a bunch of cool cards. There's one card that I want you to look at. And by the way, there's a couple really interesting ones. You're a wax guy. There's a German 99 Pokemon base first edition booster box. It's only $10,000. You can get a Charizard. But it would be, I think it's Glorak is his name in German. So that would be interesting and fun. But there's a couple of fun ones in here. You really want to talk about timing. There is a 2007 Topps Chrome Refractor Kevin Durant rookie in PSA 10. A couple of days after he, bows out of the playoffs. And this is a card that has consistently sold for $17,000 to $23,000 over the course of the season. The low end 16 and change on alt recently, but we've seen a bunch of sales on these. It's currently sitting at $77.50 with a day left, obviously plus the buyer's premium. But if you're a KD believer, I think he's going to turn it around. The people are punishing his cards now because he just exited the playoffs. It might be a time to jump in on that. And the flip side to that is that. By the way, there are 2 of them in this auction. One's at $77.50, one's at $72.50. The flip side to that is Giannis. Just like last week, there's another Giannis Prizm Silver PSA 10. It's currently sitting at $19,000 with a day left. And Andrew likes to talk about the NBA playoffs. I think it's a good lead-in. Giannis. You said wow. Do you want to show me something else on the wow first? Or?
I'm a transparent guy. We don't, I tell you guys, sometimes this is the first thing I thought of when you said Kevin Durant. I was like, when earnings come out, you miss earnings.
Yeah, punished.
People overreact, and that's actually a good time to buy. Normally, right?
Normally, yeah.
And you know which stock I thought of? I thought of Netflix. Right? I come in my head as soon as you said Kevin Durant, I said Netflix, but then I looked at Netflix stock chart and I'm like, bro, that's getting crushed.
Yeah. Well, and it's a great comparison because
Netflix has had a great run up based on continuing to grow and grow and grow. And now there are some significant threats to its growth, and it actually lost customers. And, they're going to have to switch it up. Durant's he's been here for a while, right? And he's had a lot of success, but he hasn't had the success recently. And there are more threats to his success in the league now, a la Giannis, Booker, Luka, Ja.
What's
Jason
the bright
Tatum.
spot in the future? He's coming off an Achilles injury. He's on the tail end of his career. There's a lot of questions. So,
I mean, I got to tell you, I'm with you. I am with you. But if you are a Durant buyer, there may not be a better time. Right? I mean, he just exited the playoffs. We talk about this all the time. Right? We talk about this all the time. Right? And there are some, there's definitely some cool, there's kabooms, there's gold autos. I mean, there's all kinds of Durant stuff. So talk to me. On the other side is the Giannis. You think Giannis just walks over everybody?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do it in percentages. So, guys, I mean, if you've been listening to our show since day one, I'm wrong about some things, but I've been pretty good.
And really wrong about other things.
Really wrong about a lot of things. But when it comes to, scouting and, trying to give you guys predictions of, hey, this is what I see that's going to happen in the NBA, I think I've been good, man. Tyler Hero, I was on that early. Mm-hmm. I even called the Heat beating the Bucks in the bubble. I as much as it hurt me, I said the Lakers are going to win the bubble championship because of how things are lining up for them. I said that the new built Lakers with Westbrook and Carmelo, and the Nets with Harden and Kyrie were going to struggle. So I'm going to give you guys percentages of how I think it's going to break down. We could discuss, okay?
Nice. I like percentages. I love doing math during a podcast.
First thing, I think, if the Timberwolves go back and watch that series, they're going to really feel like they let one slip away, Cage. Because I think they were the better team in that series.
Who?
But what's the Timberwolves?
You think the Timberwolves? I mean, listen, I got to tell you, sometimes I eat too much, and I let one slip too. But I don't think that's what you meant.
They let one get away, let one slip away?
Yeah, I let one slip. One just slips every now and again. I drink a lot of soda. I don't think the Timberwolves are a better team. And everybody is viewing me this week as like the ultimate Ja hater in the world. Even when I just make fun of his dad standing too close to him. The Grizzlies are a better team. The Timberwolves,
let's discuss what you mean by that. Yeah, because the matchups and the scoreboard and a few plays here or there, you could listen to the Draymond Green podcast. He even said it was a 4-1 series to the Timberwolves that they made of 10, 20, 40 bad plays.
So what you mean is, but this is because they're not that good and because they're young, the whole deal. The Grizzlies won 3 of the 4 games that the Grizzlies won. The Timberwolves had a 10-point fourth quarter lead. I'll say that again. The T-Wolves were up by 10 points in 3 of the games that the Grizzlies ultimately won, which is monumental collapse for it to happen once, for it to happen 3 times. That's absurd. And I understand what you're saying, but the games don't end with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You have to close it out, right? The record books will be very different.
Why I say that, Cage? I say it for a reason. So here's how I break it down. I think the Suns have a 35% chance to get out of the West. I think the Warriors have a 35% chance. I think the Grizz have a 25% chance, and the Mavs have a 5% chance.
Ooh, wow.
Why I said that?
You hear that, Manny?
Because the Grizz avoided actually the team that I think would be the toughest. Do you know the record of the Mavs versus the Grizz this season? They're 3-0.
Yeah,
they're 3-0 against.
They beat them up.
The Mavs and the Grizz are a difficult matchup for the Grizz, but the Grizz don't have to face them. They play the Warriors, and say what you want about these Warriors. I think they're really good shape. I think they're a great team. Everyone's healthy, but remember, they're not 100%. Clay's not fully back. A few months after 2 years off, you're not 100%. So I'm really excited for that series, the Warriors Grizz, because I do think now the Grizz could win that series.
Okay. And if they do, who's going to be the one who carries the load? Most likely Desmond Bane shooting from the outside.
It's going to be Ja.
It wasn't Ja in the first series. And I bring up Desmond Bane for a reason. I don't know if you want to share the screen, but I found a card for you. I probably should keep it secret, but I found a card for you in the PWCC weekly auction ending tomorrow night. Now, people don't love these, but you do. It is What?
PWCC is hands down the best website in the world.
Isn't it amazing how to navigate? We're partial. We're doing a PWCC episode, but if you go in there and you type Prizm Gold Bane,
look what just popped up. It was like in that like the green.
Yeah.
I've never seen this card before in my life.
That's a cool card.
It's called Ronaldinho El Crack.
Yeah. I mean, it's appropriate. It's appropriate, right? I mean, you and Ronaldinho were together at the National doing crack. I'm just kidding. Ronaldinho.
He's wearing sunglasses.
He doesn't do it. So if you type in Prizm Gold Bane, that's rhetorical hyperbole, everyone. Andrew does not do crack. Look at that card. 10-10. 10 on the card, 10 on the auto. It's $575. A rookie gold auto of Desmond Bane. Prizm Gold. Only 10 of these. There's only one that's a 10-10, and it's $575. And you did a break. You can't even break a pack of that online. That's just a sick card.
And if you're buying or investing in a guy, he has heart. Why I say Ja is, you guys watch the Timberwolves series. What they did was anytime Ja relentlessly drove to the basket, they swarmed him, right? They had a main defender on him, and then two guys kind of came from opposite sides, and it was Edwards, it was Beverly, it was Cat, and it left open shooters. It left Bane open. It's no secret why Bane got so many shots. He's an incredible shooter. I don't think the Warriors are going to match up like that, right? Because the Warriors don't have a Patrick Beverly. Clay can't keep Ja in front of him. Jordan Poole can't keep Ja in front of him. The best defender on the Warriors is who? Dre. Mm-hmm. Dre matches up with Jokic. Dre's not going to be on Ja. So that's why I said that. I think Ja's going to have a really good series. I think it's an interesting time for the next week or two to actually buy into Ja, believe it or not. I know I don't
make my crazy predictions, too often. I'll make my crazy prediction right now. Anyway, I actually bet somebody who was in the comments. I say the Warriors sweep them.
You think the Warriors sweep the Grizz?
Yep, I do. I think Minnesota should have won 4-1. You think if the Warriors have a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, they let the Grizz back into it? No.
Not in the one individual game, but
I think they
the
get swept.
Warriors are
You heard it here first, folks.
It's going to be very hard for the Warriors to sweep them.
I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it's going to happen.
First off, the Warriors aren't a young team.
So they're a better team. Significantly better team.
You either have to be significantly more talented, significantly better, or significantly more motivated and more.
And they are. And why are they more motivated? Because they know what stands in front of them next time. So let's get rid of these upstart guys that we're significantly better than. Let's play 4 games tough instead of 6 games where we have to go out there and do it over and over again and maybe somebody gets hurt. Let's dispatch this young team that shouldn't even be here because it should have lost to the Timberwolves. Let's take Ja and his 22 for 67 shooting over the last 4 games and send them packing. And that's what I think is going to happen. And then they can rest up and be ready for the Suns.
This is very bold and
yet very believable.
Do you know the Grizz are home court advantage?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I don't see it like that. I 25% chance the Grizz come out. Warriors 35. I'll say that 45% chance the Grizz win this series. 55% chance the Warriors do. But I think this goes 6-7 games. This is not an easy series.
Pat Bev and what's the other dude's name in the starting lineup? What's his name? I don't even know what the guy's name is. It's a very different team. That's all I'm saying. Timberwolves were a bad matchup for them.
Matchups, right?
Yeah. Matchups.
Who's gonna guard Morant, Bane, and Brooks? Those are your perimeter guys. Who's gonna match up with them for the Warriors? The Warriors don't have good perimeter defenders. That matters, Cage.
I don't think. Yes. The Timberwolves had good perimeter defenders also, but who on Minnesota is going to match up against what the Suns do? The Warriors do. I don't think they have to, right? I think it's just going to be whose shots fall. I don't think there's going to be much defense played by either team. Nobody's going to.
Warriors take shots. The Grizz get to the rim.
Maybe. And against this team, they probably will have a better chance getting to the rim also. But that's great. So the Grizz will shoot 2s and the Warriors will shoot 3s. How's that going to end up? That's just
That's the interesting chess match, Cage. I don't know how good of a shooting. I mean, if they shoot lights out for 4 games, no question.
We'll see, man. Obviously, I mean, it's not favored to happen, right? I mean, what do you think the odds a casino is going to give me right now? On a sweep. Like, what kind of odds would I get on a sweep? Significant odds. So yeah, obviously
25 to 1.
So yeah, I mean, you call it bold, hot take, whatever it is. I got in my brain. I think that's going to happen. Other side of the equation, you think the Bucks just walk?
Yeah, I put here's my percentages. Bucks 50% chance to come out the East. Celtics 20%. Heat 25. Sixers 5%. Sixers 5% with or without Embiid. They have so many weaknesses. And I got to tell you, man, Doc has to go down as the worst best coach. What I mean, he's just a horrible coach.
The Heat. I mean, they're definitely advancing now. You saw what happened with Embiid, right? He has a fractured orbital bone. Yeah. I mean,
4 minutes left, 25-point
up
game.
By 20. Yeah, I mean,
and you're keeping Embiid in, who's already has a hurt thumb.
It happens. I mean, this is sports, man. It happens.
It doesn't happen. Doc is just a moron, dude.
All right, so guys, it's not a rookie.
Doc is the Kevin Durant of coaches.
But if Andrew's right and John Morant is going to suddenly find out how to play playoff basketball again, and by the way, to give him some credit, the team won. They advanced. Last year he had better playoff performances. So I don't think it's a bright light thing. I think that what Andrew's saying is true. The matchup was tough. They were playing real tight, annoying defense on Ja and basically daring another player on the team to step up and win, and they did. Also, the interesting thing that is going to happen here now is, I mean, is Brandon Clark going to get an elbow to the rib every single time from Draymond?
Yes.
Right? I mean, that's what I'm expecting to happen, right? I expect Draymond he just abused the MVP. And abused is a different way. I mean, listen, Jokic got his numbers. But obviously he didn't get many offensive rebounds. And, he made him work. Exactly. When you make somebody work, their offense is usually, struggling. And look, Joker, I mean, give the dude some credit. He had a great series. We'll see what happens. We'll see how many second shots, third shots, and fourth shots the Grizz are getting like they were getting.
Well, this is where it gets interesting. And guys, they say if you don't toot your own horn, nobody will, and all that stuff. There's not a lot of stuff like I praise myself, like kind of a self-deprecating by nature. The reason with basketball I have a level of confidence is, one, I've been right time and time again. But two, it makes me feel good to hear that you guys have success listening to the show and using the plays. Jaren Jackson's going to have a good series, man, because no one on the Warriors matches up with him.
They didn't have a good series last time, but I guess that's because they matched up against him well. We'll see, man. We'll see. I think, nobody gives Mr. Loney any credit, but I think he will be short. On Jaren Jackson.
Jackson's bigger. I mean,
he's got to be out in the perimeter. I mean, Cat didn't follow him out there. Cat's a perimeter player too. So yeah, I mean, the matchups are fun. I think the Timberwolves young team, I think that they used a lot more energy than the Warriors did getting out of the first round. I think that they can sit down and say, we're happy. We've advanced. We won a playoff series for the first time in 6-7 years. Whereas this would be a disappointing exit, I think, for the Warriors. But if you're right, and let's just throw one card out there for you, right? If you're right, and you are always right when it comes to this, if you're a fan of the Prizm Golds, the numbered out of 10, you name it, the whole deal, right? It's not a rookie, but it's a second year. In this auction ending on Sunday night, there is a Prizm Gold Ja out of 10. PSA 10. There's only 2 of them. So it's a Ja Prizm Gold out of 10, PSA 10. Current bid is $3,400 on it. Nice card.
Ends when?
Ends tomorrow. I mean, it ends, depending on when people are listening, it ends on the Sunday weekly auction.
So if I could give you my 2 cents, I think risk reward, that card stands to, let's say you buy it tomorrow, forget them out. If the Grizzlies lose to the Warriors, that card is maybe 10, 20, 30% lower if it sells. But I think if the Grizz win that series and Josh shows out, and I think this is a very favorable series against an older team, that's an interesting card, man. That's an interesting card where you could. I don't know. What do you think it goes for?
I don't know. I mean, right now I think $3,400 is very cheap because you're right. The analysis you do on it is the potential downside is very low compared to the potential upside. So I like what you're saying.
And I think Trey was 150. So this is, 200.
But Trey was a rookie. This is the second year.
Oh, this is second. I know the card you're talking about. Okay.
Someone where he's like dribbling,
Suns, I hope you guys cashed with the Mikal Bridges play. Not a lot. That was a $75 silver Prizm PSA 10 when I gave you guys the play. Now it's $175. I love his game. I don't see how the Mavs match up with this Suns team. I really don't. Luka's not 100% fit. He just coming off a calf injury. This is one where I think is a sweep. What are your thoughts? I'm probably missing a few things.
No, we got them all. We nailed the cards. We nailed the playoffs. I don't think Luka allows a sweep. I think Luka is good enough himself to avoid a sweep. I'm not saying they're going to win the series, but I think Luka's good enough to avoid the sweep. I think the Suns go into it knowing that they're going to beat the Mavs, and maybe with that kind of rest Booker a little bit here and there. Maybe they go up 2-1, and maybe they give Booker a little nappy nap, a little napperoni, little napperoni and cheese. Maybe they let him rest up because I'm sure he's not fully back. And Luka's, in one of these games, Luka could score 50 and just put the team on his back and avoid a sweep. But yeah, I think the Suns right now, and the Heat. If I were betting this round, who's going to advance to the conference finals, that's where I'd be putting my money. I know you say the Bucks, but I think the Celtics give the Bucks a little bit more run than an Embiid-less Philly team does. That's Is it surprising to you, by the way, as a bettor, 1 through 4 versus 1 through 4, that all of the lower seeds ended up losing, especially in a year where you had the Nets and you had this Timberwolves team that you thought was better? I mean, I don't remember the last time I've seen that. All 4 of the top 4 seeds in both sides of the equation advance.
I didn't actually think about it until you said it. I don't think of basketball like the way they're seeding in college. I don't think about it that much because I don't know why I don't in the NBA. What does surprise me is
it makes more sense in the NBA. It's based on record.
It is, right? I don't know why I haven't thought about it. But dude, the Celtics are -5 versus the Bucks. That's surprising to me. I know it's only one game.
The only question I have for you is that would not be the case if it was in Milwaukee. Did Milwaukee specifically tank that last game to avoid the Nets? Do the Celtics now get an advantage because they have home field advantage by taking out a Nets team that I think the Bucks would have dominated also? And does that decision now to try to avoid the 2 seed come back to haunt the Bucks because now they're playing games on the road? Interesting little little subtext. If you're the Bucks, you didn't want to face the Nets, but now you got to face the Celtics, and the Celtics have home field advantage. The Celtics are playing as well as anybody.
This is going to be an interesting test because you guys know I've been on the Bucks hard for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that they're completely underrated, underappreciated, undiscovered. I think after this series, if the Bucks dismantle the Celtics, I think the writing's on the wall.
All right. People are on the Celtics bandwagon. My daughter helped me make a little political cartoon about it. Everybody was off the jaw for a minute, moved over to the Celtics, and next week the bus stop for the bandwagon will be over in Milwaukee. So we'll see what happens. You've been consistent, if nothing else, and so have I. Ja's a great player, guys. I just, some of his cards have gotten a little expensive. That's what I'm trying to protect you from. So
for a guy that has a tremendous amount of weaknesses to his game, and you're making a lot of assumptions, hoping that he gets better next year, which are valid, but he still has so many weaknesses.
Yep, that is all. That's the deal. But guys, listen, PWCC, as Andrew has just found, makes it very, very easy and fun. You want to look for Kobe cards? Go ahead and sort by Kobe. Look for bargain Kobe cards. There's a way to sort that way. You want to find Prizm Golds? There's plenty of them. There's a cool Luka Select Gold Prizm Rookie Auto number 1 of 10, PSA 10, a 1 of 1, ending next week. So we'll get to talk about that in our next week auction. Some real cool stuff.
Real quick.
Shoot.
Last topic. And these Saturday episodes, guys, I apologize. You'll probably have to listen to them twice. 2 workouts on Saturdays for you.
2
guys.
Workouts. I don't work out.
And Wednesday, we have an announcement of whatnot. So that's going to be more of like a marketing show. So you guys could listen to that and come back to this one if you want.
All right.
So, and you know how I am with negativity, positivity. I'm kind of a sensitive person, so I stay out of this stuff. There's like trimming going on with King Kong on Blowout forums. They trim these contenders
King Kong
cards
ain't got nothing on me,
and then send them to PSA. Can you catch me up and our audience on that situation? And how doesn't the grading company catch that? Like obviously I'm asking you as like a kind of a retail guy, uneducated completely. Isn't that what they should do? If they see someone literally cut the card with a knife, shouldn't they catch that?
I mean, listen, the answer is yes, it should be caught. I would imagine that with the backlog at PSA and them, still having cards from us, thousands of cards that we mailed out well over a year ago that are, they have an intake date at PSA, which is months after PSA got them. Intake date of March 15th. Beware the Ides of March, I guess. You're never getting your cards back. That they probably are segmenting the cards that come in. And they're probably referring them out to different departments, right? And the vintage cards at high end are going to their top graders who know the vintage. And, so this particular trimmer is taking advantage of the fact that there probably are not a ton of 2021 Panini Contenders autographs being graded. And I imagine when those things come in, that maybe they're going over to the, maybe the lower, graders, the graders.
I think Cage's phone died. I knew it. So I know it. When you guys get that, like the glitchiness, boom, 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 that's when he's on low battery. So I sincerely apologize. There's not even anything I could do. I'm not going to fill, the dead air with me just talking about nothing. What we'll do is we'll talk about this topic. Wait a second. We'll fill the air. I'm going to give him another 15 seconds. If he's back in 15 seconds, I'll add him in. If he's not back, I won't add him in. He says he's back. And if not, then not. But Luca Nation, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'll give him a little bit more time. So we talked a little bit about PWCC weekly auctions. That's the beginning of the episode. We're going to have Collectible on. They're going to talk about the card, the Mahomes valuation, explain how they got to that price. I'm super curious, and please don't let me forget if this is the same buyer who bought the card for $300,000. Or if that card was sold privately after the golden auction sale. And I'm curious about that. I gave you guys a little bit of numbers of, what I think is which team I think is coming out of the East, which team I think is coming out of the West. I think it's Bucks. I gave you percentages, Suns, Warriors, Grizz, because I think it's kind of anybody's. I still think the Suns are the better team, but it depends on the matchups. It really, really does. So, and then.
Woo! Nice. Tried 14 times. It wouldn't let my microphone or camera connect. That was very, very odd.
I just recapped the show.
Shoot. Well, listen, just to put a fine point on it, guys. When you say trimming, right? You think to yourself, "Wow, somebody's taking a scissor to it." Like how do they not see it? Go to the forum. Go to Blowout forums, right? Go ahead and take a look at it. There's a thread on there. They have side-by-side pictures. And this is like, there's a tool being used on this. It is, we're not even talking about a 32nd of an inch. We're talking about something that you could not even see with the naked eye. Now, I'm sure, PWCC, PSA, the grading company should have something that shows this. But if you look at how much has been trimmed off of the edge, it's just enough to take the little bit of white off, right? So now a blue corner or blue edge becomes completely blue instead of a little bit of white on it. There are some great pictures. Those cards themselves, they have like portions of like a QR code that has little like stuff in it. So you can see how much of the QR code has been shaved off. It's not even like a fingernail. It's like the tiniest little thing, but it matters because when it's shaved the right way, now an edge, which would have been ugly, is now pristine. right? So we're not talking about like my kid, give him a scissor. Hey, by the way, cut the edge off, buddy. No, that's not what's happening with trimming. This is it's legit what's going on these things, and I'm sure that it's probably done in an express. It's probably done in like a fast type of grading. And a lot of these cards, you talk about Trey Lance autos, you name it, you can see they're trimming an edge. These cards notoriously come out of the packs, a little damaged. Ian pulled a cool Trevor Lawrence from the college one. That's like a ticket stub. I didn't even think about sending it to grading, but I guess I should send it to this person to help me grade it.
So let's do percentages. We'll have some fun. I'm on this.
Obviously, that was a joke, guys. I'm not trimming shit. Go ahead.
How much of the responsibility falls on the person for doing this? How much of it falls on Panini, and how much of it falls on PSA? And why I say Panini is they could do something to make the cards tamper-proof. I don't know if that's real or not, but give me your thoughts. Who is that on?
I mean, it would be a bit much for the tamper-proof. Look, it is as clear as day that these things are being trimmed when you look at the evidence, right? The only thing is that, these cards, they're not perfect. They're not, you see the cards that come out, a little shift and a little cut, you name it. So, it's, it's very hard to do it. So as far as that, right? Oh, man. I mean, how could they do it? Yeah, I'm sure there's something Panini, Topps, those guys could do. Maybe they put a QR code on the back that runs to the edge. That if there's any type of a trim, I'm just using the QR code as an example here, but if any of the edge is trimmed, that card does not get scanned. The QR code doesn't work anymore because a piece of it has now been missing. And part of the grading process now for any grading company is the Topps Panini will give them a QR code scanner and they got to scan it first. And it'll be evidence of trimming. I don't know if it's easy for me to say. I'm just an idiot. I don't know how to do a QR code, but it's something you could potentially put on a card.
Something to think about, right?
So that, from the manufacturer side, PSA, listen, it's still, what I'm going to compare PSA to? I'm going to compare PSA to baseball umpires, right? There's a strike zone, right? But the strike zone is different depending upon the umpire, depending upon who's batting, right?
And here, Angel Rodriguez is a great ump.
So, Aaron Judge gets more low strikes than anybody else, because he's so big, Giancarlo Stanton, whereas Altuve probably walks a little more because he's got less of a strike zone, he's just a little guy. So
he's just a little guy.
Yeah, so and so there's a little bit of give there. There's gives within tens, right? But there's a reason why when there's a mistake made, in a big mistake, and it's called out, you start hearing robotic umps. You start hearing, let's get a robotic strike zone. The same thing's happening here. I mean, it takes a little bit of the human element out of the game. There's always going to be a human element in grading until it is fully robotic, and we are not there yet. We are not in George Orwell's books yet. So this is just one of those things, man. I don't know how PSA, would be able to catch this with this. I mean, the cards come out of the manufacturer, a little different. This is it's just one of those things. What I would like to say is I'd like to say, banks get robbed. They have as much safety, protection as possible. They have armed guards. They have vaults. They have alarm systems. They do what they need to do to protect it. But there are bad actors out there, and they will rob a bank.
And FDIC protects us, protects our money. So does PSA's, let's say PSA graded that card, send it back to King Kong, then he sold it to me.
Here's the funny thing, right? So the bank isn't protecting you. If Citibank gets robbed, you're not getting your money back from Citibank. So maybe what you should be asking is, does the hobby need an FDIC? Should the grading companies be getting together with the manufacturers and saying, all right, guys, we make this many billion this year. We need to siphon off 1/100th of 1% of it as an FDIC of the hobby. Call it whatever you want. Call it the ANDREW, whatever letters you want to use. And, when stuff like this happens and a buyer gets screwed because of it, they're made whole. There is that insurance. I think hobby insurance is an interesting topic.
Bye, Luca Nation. So thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So, as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is. 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com. or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luca Nation.